There was a tweet that I saw somewhere during the 2020 draft pointing out that historically there are more undrafted players in the Hall of Fame than number one overall picks in the Hall of Fame. And it's fairly obvious when you think about it because there's only one number one overall pick per year. There are hundreds of undrafted players, and some of those guys do indeed make it to Canton. So today's draft is the best undrafted players of all time. Big Cat gets the trivia question. Here we go. Big Cat, who is the only quarterback in NFL history to start a season 8-0 and start a season 0-8? And the hint is that he currently is
it's Andy Dalton
in the league. There you go.
This
I was trying to
past
think
year.
how best to. I was trying to think of how best to phrase the hint because he's in the league, but he's not in the league, and I didn't want to say that because then it would either be him or Cam Newton. But you got it right. You got Andy Dalton. You get the first pick in the draft of the best undrafted players of all time.
The first pick is an easy one for me. It's going to be Kurt Warner. And I think you have to go with a Hall of Famer to start. And Kurt Warner, we recently on Part of My Take, shameless plug, did our top 10 QBs of all time. And I regret not at least saying Kurt Warner because Kurt Warner was that good at his peak. The, greatest show on turf kind of revolutionized what offensive football looked like at the time. That was something totally new. Had a complete second act with the Cardinals. When Kurt Warner was on, it was tough to top him in terms of the quarterback play. He was an undrafted free agent. Obviously, everyone knows, stocking shelves at a grocery store, playing arena football. Unbelievable story. Kurt Warner's my number one undrafted free agent, especially because we'll see other guys on this list, but doing it from the quarterback position, how much we value it and how many resources get put into it to have an undrafted Hall of Fame quarterback is quite the feat. So Kurt Warner's my number one.
And I remember the way that Kurt Warner kind of landed on the radar screen. Trent Green took a low hit from Rodney Harrison in a preseason game in 1999. Dick Vermeil literally cried about it. And you just wrote the Rams off at that point. I mean, the Rams had been bad. Who's this Kurt Warner guy? They're not going to be any good. And then the next thing you know, it's one of those moments where as it's happening, it's really, really special and it's going to be memorable. And you can sense it. A lot of times you need the benefit of time and distance to appreciate what you saw. That was one of those, almost like the 85 Bears, to give your team a little pop, where as it's happening, this is a big deal. This is special. Yeah. And it made it more special that we're learning about this guy who played for the Iowa Barnstormers. He played in the World League, and who the hell is this guy? He's a guy who, by the way, I think it was Paul Burmeister of NBC that got Kurt Warner's scholarship to Iowa. He had to go to some school other than Iowa, Northern Iowa or something like
Northern
that.
Iowa. Northern Iowa.
So many little wrinkles. And they're going to make the Kurt Warner movie. The Kurt Warner movie is coming. So we'll learn all about Kurt Warner. Yes.
Are you going to get a cameo?
No. Are you?
No. Why would I?
All right. I don't know. Why would I? All right.
I don't know.
First pick for me. And I'm glad you got the trivia question right because I was going to struggle with this because Kurt Warner is the obvious choice for anybody who's been paying attention to football for the past 30 years. But as I did my research for this, I was reminded, and the kids out there who are currently playing Madden, if you're playing the Ultimate Team on Madden, you know who this guy is because he is one of the best players in the game. Dick Night Train Lane, who was undrafted in 1952. Now, you'll say, well, there was only like 12 teams in the league then. Who cares if you're undrafted? There were 30 rounds of the draft in 1952. 360 players were drafted that year, and not one of them was Night Train Lane. And Night Train Lane had 14 interceptions as a rookie. That's still the single season record for interceptions today. He made it to the Hall of Fame, undrafted, with 360 guys selected by 12 teams in 1952. I would have really struggled between him and Kurt Warner because as you learn more about Dick Night Train Lane, it's amazing that the guy made it. It's amazing that he's in the Hall of Fame. It's amazing he wasn't drafted.
That is incredible. 30 rounds. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. good pick, but it's way too old for people to think that was a good pick. But I know it's a good pick, Mike, even though it's not a great pick. Okay.
If you were playing Madden instead of that old college football game from 1998 that you're streaming on Twitch every day, you would know who Dick Night Train Lane is instead of who this Coach Doug's guy is.
Coach Doug's a legend, and the game is from 2014. Not that old. I can't believe you didn't pick this guy, though. With my second pick, I'll go to your team. How did you not take John Randall? What?
I was hoping you wouldn't.
Of course I'm going to take John Randall. He was number 2 on my board. John Randall, one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL in the 90s, 137.5 sacks in his career, undrafted, and of course, the cool eye paint that he would put on. John Randall absolutely deserves to be on this list of best undrafted free agents. Played for the Minnesota Vikings, wasn't able to win a ring with that team that was fantastic, 15-1. They missed a field goal late in the game against the Falcons. The Falcons go to the Super Bowl. They probably should have won the Super Bowl that year, but John Randall is my number 2 pick.
Now, you just said, and we can play it back if we need to, that quarterbacks get extra preference in this regard because it's an important position and it's a more impressive achievement to go undrafted.
Quarterbacks.
That's what you said.
I already have a quarterback. It's called diversifying your portfolio, my friend.
All right. Because you overlooked an undrafted quarterback, a quarterback who
Warren
spent
Moon.
several
I know.
seasons.
I didn't overlook it.
Yeah, Warren Moon. Give me Warren Moon. Well, then why didn't you take him? I thought you would take him and I could have John Randall.
I wanted to take a Viking. Yeah, I wanted to take a Viking.
Well, Warren Moon played for the Vikings. You realize that, don't you?
That's true, but I wanted to take a Mr. Viking. That's what I'm calling
Warren Moon played for the Vikings in an era where they routinely dominated the Chicago Bears. That's probably why you didn't take Warren Moon. But he obviously.
If you think of Warren Moon, you think Houston Oilers.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I'm just making sure. I knew he played for the Vikings, but I'm saying he was a Houston Oiler. Like that would be the team you'd think of.
Yeah, but still, Warren Moon, unbelievable that he wasn't drafted. Consciously went to Canada instead of trying to make it as an undrafted guy in the NFL, became a star in Canada, and finally got his chance in the NFL and made a lot of people look stupid for not giving him a chance from the get-go. One of the great quarterbacks of all time. So without question, Warren Moon. All right, what do you got next?
All right, I'm going to continue to diversify my portfolio here with my last pick, and that will be out of Kent State, Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates, one of the best tight ends of all time, unbelievable career, 16 seasons. Obviously, everyone knows he was a basketball player. It's crazy. I still think that Antonio Gates is going to be there week 1. I don't know if he actually is retired or not, but he is bound for the Hall of Fame, and that will give me now a defensive player, a tight end, and a quarterback. That is a dominating draft by me. Good job, Big Cat.
All right, I've got a defensive back who has the single-season record for interceptions all time. I've got a quarterback who probably has thrown for more yards than anyone if you put together his NFL and CFL numbers. Now I have a lot of different ways I can go here. I thought about Wes Welker. Because I was surprised to remember that he was undrafted, but he didn't have a Hall of Fame career, so Wes Welker doesn't get the nod. Sorry, Wes. James Harrison, I thought about him. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer either. Great player, undrafted, cut like 15 times before it finally worked for him. I admire that kind of perseverance. But again, he's not going to be a guy, I think, at this point who gets to the Hall of Fame. The one Hall of Famer out there that I can't overlook is... Boy, I'm torn. I'm torn between Willie Brown and Donnie Shell. I got to give it to Willie Brown, even though I'm still upset about the slow-motion NFL films highlight of the interception return against the Vikings in Super Bowl 11. I got to go with Donnie Shell. I got to go with Willie Brown. I thought about Donnie Shell because he was undrafted in the year that the Steelers drafted 4 Hall of Famers, and now Shell's making it to the Hall of Fame. Willie Brown, a half click above Donnie Shell. So I'm trying to wedge them both in to my pick here, but I'll take Willie Brown as my last one. Undrafted by the Raiders and an all-time legend. So it was fun. It was fun. Any other names that didn't make your cut?
Yeah. A couple other names I had floating around: Priest Holmes, Tony Romo, and then this one is a little bit different because they don't usually draft these guys. But Adam Vinatieri was undrafted, and he will be in Canton someday. So he at least deserves honorable mention.
Yep, absolutely right. Yeah, Romo undrafted, and Romo's not going to make it to the Hall of Fame, but it just shows you can find a franchise quarterback anywhere if you get lucky. And the Cowboys got lucky with Tony Romo, but you know what? They knew he was going to be something early on, and Sean Payton tried to get Tony Romo as soon as Sean Payton became the head coach of the Saints in 2006, tried to pry him away from Parcells, and Parcells wasn't having it because Parcells knew at some point that year Bledsoe's to the bench, and Tony Romo becomes the starting quarterback.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.